They tried to hide it, but now it's clear. Even the rivals are admitting it. Alabama is back, and they're stronger than ever. The Georgia Bulldogs? They already called Bama the biggest villain of the upcoming season. And Auburn? They're so desperate, their own head coach ran to the media and dropped a pathetic excuse. But then, an Alabama legend heard it and shut it all down with just 2 words. Today, we'll show you exactly why the rivals are panicking and how the Crimson Tide is building a brand new era of dominance in college football. Subscribe now, because this story is way too good to miss. The noise is echoing again behind the scenes of college football, but this time, it's not criticism, it's fear. Because what head coach Kalen DeBoer is doing in Tuscaloosa isn't normal. In just a few weeks, Alabama stacked up elite commits like it was 2011 all over again. More than 10 top-tier recruits in less than 20 days. That includes one of the best edge rushers in the nation, a 5-star linebacker, and one of the most wanted wide receivers in the class. And the wildest part? Nick Saban had almost no direct involvement. Local media confirmed. Out of 19 commits in the class of 2026, only 2 spoke directly with coach, which means this is all the work of the new staff. And it's working. But you know what else is working? The psychological effect it's having on the rivals. The Georgia Bulldogs, 2-time national champs and Alabama's biggest recent rival, they made a public admission. According to Sports Illustrated, Alabama has been labeled the archvillain of the 2025 season. That word wasn't random. Archvillain. So in the story Georgia is imagining for this season, Kirby Smart ain't the hero. They're painting Kalen DeBoer as the villain to beat. But is Bama really the villain? Or are they just the team everyone fears? That same article said, even though Georgia's strong, the team haunting the road to the national title is Alabama. And that perception is everywhere now. It's spreading among coaches, analysts, and players. With every new commitment, the Tide becomes the focus of national conversation, even when they're not on the field. Georgia sees Bama as a worthy opponent, but Auburn? They're acting like a team in panic mode. Head coach Hugh Freeze, under pressure for poor seasons and weak recruiting, decided to speak up. But what he said? It didn't land well. Freeze claimed Auburn isn't bringing in big names this year because of the new NIL regulations. He pointed to the new cap of $20.5 million, part of the House versus NCAA settlement. He said Auburn has to prioritize keeping its current players, instead of signing new stars. Let me translate that for you. If Alabama's getting top talent, they must be breaking the rules. We're the honest ones making sacrifices. That's how everyone heard it. And Crimson Tide fans, along with former players, got fired up. This is where it gets real. A J. McCarron national champ Alabama icon. He heard the excuse, and he answered back. Just 2 words. 2 sharp, bold, unforgettable words. Full of shachted. That's what he said about Hugh Freeze's excuse, and he didn't stop there. It happened on The Next Round, a classic Alabama radio show. McCarron didn't play nice. He went straight to the point. He said coaches are blaming the NIL system. But the real reason, if you can't recruit, maybe it's because nobody's buying what you're selling. Boom. A punch of truth. Freeze was trying to shift the blame. But McCarron reminded everybody what Bama fans already know. No one recruits better than Alabama. When the work is done right. If Coach DeBoer is bringing in elite players under the new rules, then why can't Auburn? It's not the money, it's the culture. And McCarron, the face of that culture, wasn't about to let the narrative get twisted. He closed his message with one more truth bomb. Guys want to play where there's accountability, where there's a standard, and everybody knows where that is. The reaction was immediate. Bama Nation lit up on social media. Auburn fans tried to clap back, but they had no facts, only sarcasm. Because deep down, everybody knew. A.J. McCarron just said what the rest of the country was thinking. Meanwhile, the Tide machine keeps rolling. With every new commitment, rival nerves tighten. A 24/7 sports analyst even said, "It feels like Alabama became more dangerous after Saban left." That line? It's echoing because something different is happening. It's not just about talent, it's about attitude. The kind of attitude that doesn't bow to rivals, that doesn't make excuses, that answers with work, with discipline, with culture. What Kalen DeBoer and his players are building isn't just a top recruiting class. It's a new phase for Alabama, faster, sharper, maybe even hungrier. And if the rivals are losing their minds, maybe it's because they already feel it. The nightmare is back. And the numbers don't lie. Alabama isn't just recruiting well, they're dominating. What used to be a close battle with Georgia, LSU, and Ohio State has turned into an avalanche. Over the last few weeks, analysts have tracked the ripple effect of Bama's recruiting spree. And what they found is rare. The tide is pulling elite talent from areas once considered locked down. One clear example? Xavier Griffin, a 5-star linebacker from Georgia with heavy offers from USC, Ohio State, and Texas. He visited Tuscaloosa, spent one afternoon with DeBoer's staff, and the very next day, he committed. And this isn't a one-off. Players who used to weigh options for months are now making their decision right after seeing Bama. What does that tell us? It tells us Alabama doesn't need the Saban myth to seal the deal. What wins them over is the standard, the honesty in the pitch, the proof that, despite changes, the winning DNA is still there, stronger than ever, and of course, that's making people uncomfortable. Kirby Smart knows it. Hi-oh. Freeze definitely feels it, but now even the media is showing signs of pressure. On ESPN during a debate about Bama's momentum, one analyst dropped this line. What worries me is Alabama's looking more efficient than ever. It was said as analysis, but the message was crystal clear. Too efficient, too dangerous. Because the Alabama of 2024 and beyond isn't stuck in the past, doesn't rely on one name or one era. It's a system, a mindset, a culture. And when that culture meets a hungry coach, a fearless staff, and players who believe, you get what we're seeing now. Rapid recruiting, nervous rivals, narratives falling apart, and through it all, the Crimson Tide fan base does what it always does best. It watches. Quietly. But never forgets who tried to bury them too soon. That's why when McCarron stood up to defend Bama, it wasn't just for him. It was for everyone who knows Bama isn't just a coach. It's a symbol, a family, a fight. Everyone who wears that red jersey with the A on their chest felt what he said. And the echo of that moment is still being felt. Because every time a rival makes an excuse, every time a coach blames something else, the Crimson Nation doesn't yell, they just show. And what Bama is showing right now is exactly what others are terrified to see. You can feel it in the air. The season hasn't even started yet, but the tension is building. This isn't just rivalry anymore, it's fear. Disguised as trash talk. They know what's coming. And when a coach starts making excuses before the kickoff even happens, that means he's already feeling the heat. But Alabama? They're not saying much. The players aren't out there talking. They're training. They're connecting. They're learning the system. And the system is working. Leadership is already rising in the locker room. Veterans like Malachi Moore and Jihad Campbell are setting the tone for the younger guys. The culture is being renewed without losing its core. It's still the same Alabama that taught the nation what elite competition looks like. Just with a new hunger now. While other programs argue about NIL caps, rule changes, and budget restrictions, the Crimson Tide is quietly building the next generation. A generation ready to take the field, carrying the weight of a nation. Because that's what Alabama football is. It's not a team. It's a commitment, a pact between players, coaches, fans, and history. And when a legend like McCarron speaks up and says what everyone else is thinking, it's not disrespect, it's protection. He's not just defending a program, he's defending a legacy. He's saying, we won't let you tear this down with weak excuses and fake narratives. That right there, that's what makes Alabama so feared. Their ability to evolve without losing who they are. While Hugh Freeze scrambles for explanations and Georgia prepares to face a so-called villain, the real nightmare is just getting started. Because when Alabama is doubted, that's when they're most dangerous. And now, with every new commit, every practice rep, every word from those who wore the jersey, it becomes more obvious. The silence of the Tide is ending. They're coming. And when they step onto the field, it won't be with arrogance, it'll be with purpose. The rivals? They're already shaking. And when that ball hits the ground, they'll remember everything they said, every comment, every jab. And in that moment, there will be no excuses, no nil debate, no talk of budgets. Just the field and Alabama. Like it's always been. Like it always will be.